right. Welcome to Not Suitable for Adults. It's a podcast. It's the podcast.
It's the podcast that's been a little inconsistent lately.
A little inconsistent.
Sorry, guys. We've transitioning is a lot. As some of you know, we've moved, and also just like figuring ourselves out as far as like,
just who are we?
Who are we here? Who are we in this place?
Who are we now?
And also we were out of town last weekend for my dad's birthday.
Yeah.
So we weren't in the home studio.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm Rich.
I'm Natalie.
And we're going to get back to the heart of the matter.
We promise we'll do our best.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go first this week. We got a new TV, and the TV has all of our like Android TV apps built in. And it's got a Hulu app, which the Android TV device that we were using didn't have a Hulu app. So even though we had Hulu, we weren't watching a lot of stuff on Hulu.
Right.
Because it was
just
inconvenient to
harder
have
to
to
get
cast it.
Yeah.
And so now...
Harder to get to. Oh, man, we had to cast it from our phone.
We had to use our phone. So anyway, we have a little bit easier access to Hulu now, which meant that I was browsing through Hulu, and I found a movie made for children that I hadn't seen yet called Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes.
Now...
Did you watch it just you, or did you watch it with Cora?
I watched it just me.
Oh, okay.
I think I want to watch it again with Cora because she's very interested in Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. I don't know where that came from, but like occasionally she's like, "Oh yeah, that's Sonic." Like she knows him and sees him on other things. I don't know. But it's good. I watched this one.
Oh, you
liked it? It was enjoyable. Yeah. It still is not. I wouldn't call it a great movie. I don't think it broke the.
But it was like fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It did not break the thing where movies based on video games are generally not very good. And I think this is maybe one of the better ones, but it's still kind of a cheesy movie, but it's fun.
Is this the one with, is it James Marsden?
James Marsden is in this movie.
What has he been doing lately other than being in Sonic?
He's just been cashing those hairspray checks, I think. He was in Hairspray. He's like, I've made it. I'm cashing the X-Men and the Hairspray checks, and that's all he's doing. James Marsden befriends Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic is voiced by Ben Schwartz.
I like him. He's funny.
And the bad guy in this one is Jim Carrey.
Nice.
And he plays Dr. Robotnik.
That's so it's animated and live action, or all live action?
It is. Everything in this is live action except Sonic.
Okay, so Jim Carrey plays a person?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Again, what has Jim Carrey been doing? The last thing I saw him in was probably Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
Right. I think the last role we probably saw him in was Yes Man.
Oh, man. Yeah, with Zooey Deschanel.
And I'm sure he's done other things in between.
I'm sure.
This is sort of him back to... I got some, not as extreme, but I got some Riddler vibes off of Jim Carrey in this one, like when he was the Riddler that time in that really good Batman movie. And by that, I mean that really kind of cheesy Batman movie, but it's a really good Jim Carrey role.
I semi-remember that.
Oh, we gotta... If you don't really...
Well, I like Jim Carrey and he does well in dramatic roles.
This is one of the most bonkers movies. Batman Forever. We're taking a quick break from Sonic the Hedgehog. Batman Forever.
Is that the Mr. Freeze one?
No.
Oh.
Wait. No, because that's Batman and Robin. Batman Forever.
Because Batman and Robin have an all-star cast.
All those that series of Batman movies did. In Batman Forever, it was it had young what's his face? I can't remember his name right now.
As Robin?
From
Chris O'Donnell.
Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah.
And that wasn't George Clooney yet.
George Clooney was Batman in Batman and Robin.
Who was still Batman at that point? Was it Michael Keaton? It must have been Michael Keaton.
So Chris O'Donnell played Robin to a different Batman?
To two different Batmans.
Oh, okay.
And then, but my point is the bad guys.
What about Alicia Silverstone?
Alicia Silverstone is in Batman and Robin.
Wait. Is Batman Forever after Batman and Robin?
No.
Why are we talking about this?
I'm coming to it.
But Batman and Robin isn't it?
It's Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy.
Right. But isn't that where Robin comes into it?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Robin comes in Batman Forever.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Why are we talking about
this? Because Jim Carrey plays the Riddler.
Yes.
And Tommy Lee Jones plays Two-Face.
Yes.
And that is an all-star cast right there.
Yeah.
And the reason I said this is that, I mean, Jim Carrey's kind of Jim Carrey, right?
Sure.
But he's because he's like scheming and he's a bad guy in this, the closest thing I have to compare that to is his performance as the Riddler, which is really good. And I enjoyed him. I enjoyed him in this, even though he's a little bit older. So it's funny. I'm not even into the plot yet. He's the bad guy. He has this assistant. And Jim Carrey, like the whole time, Dr. Robotnik thinks he's just the best thing that's ever happened. That he's the smartest man in the world. And no one...
A little bit narcissistic.
No one could be smarter than him. And so throughout the movie, people will do something for him, or like he'll have his assistant do something for him, and he'll bring it back and he'll go, "Thank you for nothing."
That's very Jim Carrey.
Yeah. But then he has this one moment where his assistant brings him his coffee, and he's like he turns around and like his assistant standing right behind him like surprises him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Wow, what are you doing here?" And he goes, "I brought you some coffee. I thought you'd want some coffee." He goes, "What do you mean? You thought I want some coffee? Of course I want your coffee. I love the way you make it."
Like mad compliments.
Yeah. Anyway, Sonic the Hedgehog. If you're not familiar with Sonic the Hedgehog, this was a video game from the early 90s. It was on the Sega Genesis. And he's one of the most iconic video game characters that exists.
Did you play?
Yes, I did. I didn't have the Sega Genesis. Play? I didn't have the Sega. My friend had a Sega, and I had a Super Nintendo.
Everybody's friend had a Sega. Nobody actually had a Sega, but everybody else had a friend that had a Sega. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a wormhole situation where nobody actually had a Sega.
No one actually had it, but it was at someone else's house.
It was always at someone else's house. I think maybe the parents planned it.
Yeah, so I had a friend who had an original Nintendo and a Sega, and I had a Super Nintendo. And so like there was like a back and forth of so
depending
we had different
upon what you wanted to play. Yeah.
Right. But yes, I played a lot of Sonic when I was a younger man, a young little boy man.
Gross. Whatever that was, it was gross.
And it's a platformer game where you're running and you're trying to collect you're trying to collect rings, and defeat either, depending on which game you're playing and which version, either Dr. Robotnik or Dr. Eggman, who are basically the same person. They're basically the same. I mean, if you want to
beat Dr. Eggman,
if you want to get deep in the lore of like Sonic, there's people who are like, no, they're not the same person, and I'm sorry, they are. They both dress in like a red sort of military looking thing, like uniform, and they both have goggles, and they both have a big bushy mustache. They look their physique is slightly different, but otherwise they're the same.
So it's Sonic and he's usually kind of against some sort of militaristic.
Yeah, so it's like so in the game, you're usually running through some natural area, doing loop-the-loops and jumping off of things to like spring you up to another level.
So it's like Mario.
Don't say Mario. Don't be one of them.
It's like Super Mario Brothers.
It's like Mario.
The level of disgust that just went up to your face when I said Mario. I don't actually say Mario.
So I believe, I don't have this pulled up because what I have pulled up is information about this movie. Mm-hmm. But my understanding is that Sonic was invented, I think I saw this on that video game documentary on Netflix. Sonic was invented because literally the people at Sega sat down and they looked at Mario and they said, let's do everything. Let's make someone that's everything Mario isn't. And so they're like, what color is he? Red? We're going blue.
Opposites.
What is he? A big fat plumber? We're going with a fast hedgehog. And
I mean, what is the opposite of a plumber?
The exact opposite of a little fat plumber in red overalls is blue Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, exactly.
He's exactly the opposite. And I mean, he's very different. They have similar goals. They collect shiny things. But Sonic the Hedgehog is...
Sonic's the Hedgehog, as far as like his personality and temperament goes, is a little more rock and roll though, right?
Yeah, he's a little more rock. He's a little bit more of a bad boy.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And so in the movie, we begin, spoilers for Sonic. We begin with little baby Sonic.
Oh,
little young Sonic on his home planet. And he has like superpowers, and there's these echidnas, which are, if you know anything about Sonic, there are some echidna characters that come in later.
Pretend I don't know anything about Sonic.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's super hard to pretend that because
you obviously know so much. But
I know so much about Sonic. I could name all of those little all
those little guys,
all the kid nerds.
It doesn't matter a lot. There's these others. I mean, the thing is, they're from another planet, but they're an echidna, and he's from another planet, but he's a hedgehog, and they kind of address that. But like, so there's these other creatures who want to get Sonic because he has powers because he can run so fast.
What is an echidna?
Echidna is like another little rodent type animal.
Is it a real?
It's thing? A real thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there's this owl. What's his name? Longclaw, who is the guy who takes care of Sonic. Mm. Guy? Girl. Lady. Sorry. I misgendered Longclaw. She sends Sonic off. She has this bag of magical rings. Mm. And the rings, like if you think about a place and then throw the ring, it opens up a portal to another place. And so she opens up a portal to Earth and sends Sonic to Earth to keep him safe, and gives him this bag of gold rings and says, like, you need to really be careful with these. Hold on to your rings. And
now you better watch out. You better hold on to your rings. Don't you lose them.
Right. And so he comes to Earth, and then there's like a time jump. And so he's in the town of Green Hills, Montana. And Green Hills is important because that's level 1 of the original Sonic game, is the Green Hills zone.
Gotcha.
And so it's Green Hills, Montana. And he sort of like, he becomes this sort of, like cryptid that like the locals are like, oh yeah, you gotta watch out for the Blue Devil. But no one's captured him on camera.
What is his purpose in being on Earth?
He's
traveling.
Just be safe. Basically, he needs to protect himself.
Why did he go to Earth?
Because he was trying, the echidnas on his home planet were trying to kidnap him.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he was literally sent to Earth to keep himself safe.
Longclaw sent him there to just get him out of the situation. Okay.
And so he sort of is in the background of this town and kind of like pretends like he's friends with people. And one of the people he pretends to be friends with is James Marsden's character, whose name is Thomas
to be friends with.
Wachowski. Yeah, so like
Mike Wazowski.
Yeah. Tom Wachowski. He's the sheriff of the local police. And yeah, he pretends like he locks onto him. He just likes him. He sees him like out in the world. He's a really nice guy. He like takes care of animals. His wife is a veterinarian. And so he kind of attaches himself to this family. But they don't know he's there. So like they'll be watching movies and he'll be behind them in the window watching movies with them.
It's creepy.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad. It gets to a point where like he realizes that even though he likes this place, he likes the people, he's still alone.
Right.
That comes to a head on a night where he goes out to, the like local baseball diamond and he plays an entire like game of baseball all by himself.
Aww.
So he's playing like all the positions
because he's so fast.
Yeah. He gets to a point where he gets really sad and he just starts running and he goes like, I guess like supersonic kind of, but he gets to a point where he's going so fast that like electricity pops off of him and he makes an electromagnetic pulse.
Like a Pikachu.
Like almost like a Pikachu. Yeah, almost like a Pikachu. Good reference.
Thanks.
Another video game reference. And a Pokemon reference, no less.
Yeah.
So yeah, this gets the attention of the military and of Dr. Robotnik.
Yikes.
They're looking for like energy sources and they're like, whatever created this energy source could power all of our things. And so Dr. Robotnik gets sent out to go and find him. Antics ensue as
they do.
As they begin to search for Sonic. Sonic makes himself known to Tom, to James Marsden. He sort of finds him. I just saw something in the description I actually didn't see in the movie. That's cool.
Did you fall asleep?
Yeah, I did. Whoa. No, it's in the credits. I didn't watch all the way through the credits, I guess. I know, big mistake. Anyway, it comes to a point where Tom finds him and Sonic tries to get away and he throws a ring and he gets distracted by Tom's wearing this shirt about San Francisco because he's applying to be like a San Francisco beat cop. He wants to get out of the country and move to the city. And so he's got the San Francisco shirt on with like the skyline of San Francisco and Sonic sees that. And somehow that's enough information that the rings are like, yeah, I know where that is. And the ring opens up like over this big tall skyscraper in San Francisco and Sonic drops his rings through that onto the top of this building. And then the portal closes and they're like, well, darn. Now we got to, he's like, I got to get out of here because now Robotnik's after him. And so he's like, well, I got to get my rings if I'm going to leave.
I got to get my rings.
Yeah. And so they
have to go to San Francisco.
They have to go to San Francisco. And so basically from here on out, it's just a chase. So Robotnik is hot on his tail.
And does Tom realize that Montana is actually way cooler than San Francisco?
You know what? He does.
What do you know?
He gets there and well, the thing is at the, I'm skipping like a lot of the story just because. From, like I said, from there, it's what you expect. It's a chase movie.
Right.
With cool special effects.
Yeah.
Because Sonic can go so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at the end, they're part of the conflict that comes up because at some point the two friends have to go their separate ways for a minute.
Absolutely. Always happens.
What happens is that Sonic doesn't realize that Tom is trying to leave this town. Until there comes a point where like he's over at his like wife's sister's house in San Francisco and she says something about something about when they move. Mm-hmm. And Sonic's like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh yeah, I'm leaving Green Hills. I'm going to move out here to be a city cop. And Sonic gets really upset at him because he says like, you don't understand what you have. Like, you don't understand how good that place is. Mm-hmm. And so that sort of drives them apart for a minute because Sonic feels like he's betraying people, like he's betraying his people. But then, of course, they get back together at the end. Everything's fine.
Sure.
So don't worry about that, dear listener.
Sure.
Overall, I enjoyed this movie.
Cool.
Is it a little cheesy?
Sure, I
bet. It for sure is. Mm-hmm. There's this whole, like, one of the scenes is Sonic wanting to experience all the things. And so like Tom stops at a gas station like, okay, I gotta fill up. I'm gonna go get us some food. You stay here and be hidden because you are a giant blue hedgehog.
Right.
And Sonic's like, yep, no problem. And as soon as he leaves, he gets out and he goes like across the road to this biker bar.
Yeah.
And somehow like from then on, it doesn't matter if people see him because a bunch of people see him after this, but he's in like a disguise and they're just like, oh, you're a weird little guy.
He's in it. What's his disguise?
He puts on like a
hat. And
he
a
puts on like
coat?
a hat and like a bad fake mustache or like sunglasses or something.
Oh my goodness.
And so he but he goes in there, and then there's a pretty cool thing like the Quicksilver, like every time stops, but he's running around doing stuff.
Yeah.
There's a cool scene like that, but then there's also a couple of really just cheesy things too. It's fun overall. It's definitely good for kids, not probably like little bitty kids, obviously, but like I think it's rated PG, so it's safe.
Yeah.
There are times when Jim Carrey gets really sinister as the bad guy because he's really good at that. But overall, I think it's good. One thing I wanted to just recall from history about this movie is that when they were like, hey, we're making a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And it was like,
when did this come out?
2020.
Oh, okay.
So in I think 2018, somewhere around there, they put out some like test video of it to like, hey, here it's kind of like not quite a trailer, but more of just like, here's a scene from Sonic, and Sonic looked awful.
Oh,
so like traditionally Sonic he's blue and he has the spiky hair,
right?
And they showed him they showed this picture of Sonic, and he had that. He didn't have like the big cartoony eyes. He had like almost normal sized person eyes on like a giant blue face.
Uh-oh.
And it just was wrong. Like it didn't. And the thing that everyone sort of, it was one of these things where the fans sort of rose up, and it wasn't like you didn't draw him the way we want. It was more of a,
you drew him bad.
What are you basing this picture on?
Yeah.
It looked like someone described Sonic the Hedgehog to the animator, and he's like, okay, I'll try.
I'll do my best. I don't know. What is this hedgehog you speak of?
I just drew it exactly like a normal hedgehog looks. But no, so they went back. They were like, hey, we hear ya. We're going to
calm
fix
down.
it. And so they went back and they fixed it. And he looks very good. He looks just like in the final version. He looks just like he did in the video games. So
cool.
Sonic the Hedgehog, good movie, fun movie. Watch it. It's on Hulu.
Okay.
And with that, we shall take a break. And the place in which we shall break is Promobone. And we're back. Natalie, what are you talking about this week? Natalie said, I know what I'm going to talk about this week. I said, oh, cool. What is it? She said, it's a surprise.
Well, I said, I'm going a little off book.
A little off book. Is it about a book?
It is not, but it's close.
That would have been a good clue.
It's not a movie or a show.
Okay.
I would love to tell you about children's nursery rhymes that we all know and love.
Okay, cool.
And the history behind them.
Yeah, there's some dark history.
All of this is quite macabre. So, I just want to give a warning that some of these things are a little dark. So I'm just, if little ears are going to ask questions later, just be aware that this could have some.
Can I ask a question right now?
Sure.
Was this inspired by that TikTok lady?
No. Oh my goodness, she's cool. I like her. Hey, babe. Thank you for knocking. Very kind of you. I love you. I was hiding under your porch because I love you. Okay, we'll be done soon. Can you shut the door behind you? Sorry, we were talking about the...
I asked you if it was about the TikTok lady.
Yes, I had forgotten about her, actually, when I was looking at these. She does some... We need to look her up. She does some really funny impersonations of someone finding out about
the history
of some of their childhood stuff. Okay. I have 10 of them.
Whoa.
And I was inspired by several different sites. So I kind of compiled a little bit.
Okay.
But anyway, you can find these easily on your own.
Yeah.
But why find them when I'll just tell
You're
them
gonna read
into
them
your
off
ears?
now.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
My fair lady.
Set a man to watch all night, watch all night, watch all night. Set a man to watch all night, my fair lady. Suppose the man should fall asleep. Fall asleep, fall asleep. Suppose the man should fall asleep, my fair lady. Honestly, who needs those last two? Am I right?
I was just going to say, I don't think I've ever heard those verses of London Bridge.
Yeah. So, this one has several theories as far as origins of this go.
Okay.
But there is one that a lot of people like to hang on to, and it is due it is because it involves human sacrifice.
Okay.
Now, again, I am warning people, these 10, most of them have very macabre and sinister history behind them. So if you guys aren't wanting your little ears to hear these things,
comes.
Yeah, nothing explicit in this, but still. Okay. Back in the day, it was believed that a bridge would collapse unless a human was buried at its foundations.
Oh.
So this practice is called immurement.
Okay.
Which is the practice of entombing someone within a structure where they slowly die from lack of food and water. So it's not a body is put in there, it's a person is put in there. A person
is buried alive.
Yes. And that will keep the bridge from falling. And then, like, if you think about it, when you're playing the game, it's two people holding hands and people are going under the bridge, and then falling down. It falls down on top of that person, and then they're trapped in there.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Now,
remember, a lot of these are kind of theories. Some are really based on some things. This was one of the theories.
So what I think is wild about that is, or not, I mean, there's a lot that this isn't the only thing, but for some reason this is what I thought. So they thought that, set aside for a moment, that it's entombing a live person.
Yeah.
There's also this thing of like, so structurally, they were like, you know what we need at the base of our bridge? Nope. A big hollow room.
All right.
Why don't we make the foundation of our...
Well, I don't think it was a big hollow room. I believe it was just things were put on top of the person.
Okay.
They were just... The person was the foundation, within the foundation.
Yeah.
But anyway, like a lot of remains have been found in the foundations of bridges and stuff. So this theory kind of comes from that.
Okay.
Mary, Mary, quite contrary. I can't speak again today. How does your garden grow with silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row? This is about Mary the First.
Okay.
Mary the First was the daughter of Henry VIII. Henry VIII, I am. He was the daughter of Henry VIII and his first wife, Catherine.
Okay.
And if you remember, Henry VIII wanted to marry Anne Boleyn and wanted to divorce Catherine, but the Catholic Church would not let him.
Right.
So he kind of took himself away from the Catholic Church, and he created the Anglican,
yeah.
Anglican
the Church of England.
Yes. So during Mary's reign, his daughter Mary, during Mary's reign, it was very divided between the Catholics and the Protestants. When she came to the throne, she wanted England to go back to Catholicism.
Oh.
So that's why she was going contrary, Mary, Mary, quite contrary to the wishes, especially England's wishes, because England really took hold of the Protestant faith.
Sure.
And she wanted to bring it back to Catholicism. She had a very short reign, 5 years, from 1553 to 1558. And in these 5 years, she executed many, many Protestants. The silver bells and cockle shells are torture devices from her time.
Okay.
And the pretty maids all in a row are refer to women being burned at the stake for crimes of being Protestant. Is this too?
No, I think it's super interesting.
I know it's very interesting, but I worry because this is a lot darker than we usually go. But I've warned them. I've warned you.
You've been warned.
You've been warned.
It can't all be blippy.
No, it can't all be blippy and bluey. So that's Mary Mary. She's quite contrary.
Yeah, and that's how her garden grows.
Yep, she's got silver bells, cockle shells, and pretty maids all in a row.
Okay.
3 blind mice. 3 blind mice, see how they run. They all ran after the farmer's wife, who cut off their tails with a carving knife. Did you ever see such a thing in your life as 3 blind mice?
Yeah.
This is another one about Mary the First.
Jeez. People really wanted to commemorate Mary with children's songs.
She was also known as Bloody Mary. That's where we get the phrase.
Yeah.
So it is believed that the 3 blind mice are Protestant bishops in her time. Hugh Latimer, Nicholas Radley, and the Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Cranmer.
Okay.
They conspired to overthrow Mary. They were unsuccessful. Obviously. They were found out, and then they were burned at the stake for treason and heresy. And it was the rhyme goes that they were blind because it was mistakenly believed that she blinded them. But I believe that that's not actually accurate to history.
Okay.
So, 3 blind mice. Number 4. Are you sticking with me?
I'm with you.
Is this cool?
I'm loving it.
I'm a little nervous about this one.
Don't be nervous.
Okay. Not this one. I'm nervous about this whole thing.
You're doing great.
Okay. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after.
Okay. This is just a story about 2 kids.
that went up a hill and fell down it. Okay. Francis Louis the 16th. Sorry, when there's Roman numerals, I have to think about
Louis the 16th.
Louis the 16th and his wife, Marie Antoinette. They were convicted of treason during the French Revolution. Otherwise, at that time, it was known as the Reign of Terror. And they were beheaded. So, Louis the 16th lost his crown.
The head part.
The head part. And Jill, Marie Antoinette, hers came tumbling after.
Yep.
Number 5. Now, I think a lot of people know this one. This is kind of an infamous one.
Okay.
Ring around the Rosie. Pocket full of posy. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
This is the Black Death, right?
It is. The Great Plague. In 1665 in London, the Rosie that the rhyme refers to is the rash that people would get with the disease. They would try to cover up their smell with a pocket full of posies. And then ashes are cremated remains.
Yeah.
And that they were just all over. All fall down. Okay. Everybody take a deep breath. All of your childhoods are being ruined. You're welcome.
They're still 6. Catchy tunes.
Yeah. Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir, yes, sir. 3 bags full. 1 for the master, 1 for the dame, and 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane.
This one's just one about a sheep shearer.
Yeah. It actually goes back to a very harsh wool tax that was imposed on the farmers in England by King Edward I in the 13th century. A third of the wool was taken for the king or master. A third was for the church or dame. And 1/3 was for the farmers. Some older versions of this rhyme ended with, but none for the little boy who cries down the lane. And that was to show how little was left for the people that actually cultivated the wool.
Sad for them.
Sad for them. Number 7, Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard to get her poor doggy a bone. When she got there, the cupboard was bare, so the poor little doggy had none. That one
is already a sad one.
That one's already dumb, I feel like. But, so this again has some theories. One of the main theories is that Old Mother Hubbard is actually Cardinal Wolsey from the 16th century in England. All of these are from these early days in time. He was once a powerful person in the clergy, and he found himself in Henry VIII's bad books. He was one of the ones that was unable to get him a divorce from Catherine. What they believe is that King Henry is the doggy, and the divorce is the bone, and the cupboard is the Catholic Church. So like Old Mother Hubbard, so the cardinal went to the Catholic Church to get King Henry a divorce.
But when he got there, church
they
was
refused.
bare.
They refused, and that's when England separated from the Catholic Church.
Interesting.
This is one that I don't know as well. Goosey, goosey, gander. Do you know this
Whither
one?
shall I wander?
Whither dost thou wander?
Sure.
Upstairs and downstairs and in my lady's chamber. There I met an old man who wouldn't say his prayers. I took him by the left leg and threw him down the stairs.
Hilarious.
Do you know? You knew that one. You seem to know that one. I didn't know that one as well.
I just remember we had like a big book of nursery rhymes when we were kids. So I just remember that one.
After England turned Protestant, following King Henry's rejection of the Catholic Church, there were a lot of Catholic priests who refused to follow the Protestant faith. So to avoid punishment, they would set up small rooms in their homes called priests' holes to pray in. If they were found praying in Latin, as the Catholics do, they would be thrown down the stairs or put to death. So it was just, there I met an old man who wouldn't say his prayers. I took him by the left leg and threw him down the stairs. It's just a reference to that time.
Huh.
2 more.
Number 9.
Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush so early in the morning.
Now, come on. That's just a nice time on a Saturday.
This one actually interested me more than the other ones.
Okay.
Because it's very short.
Okay.
And I mean, according to a historian named R.S. Duncan, he was the warden of England's Wakefield prison.
Okay.
And he wrote that this song's origin lies in the female inmates were singing it as they were exercised around the mulberry tree in their yard.
So it was just like a prisoner song of like
prisoner song.
The way they exercise us is like they just run us around this mulberry bush.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go around the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush.
Interesting.
Okay. Last one.
Number 10.
Georgie Porgy, pudding and pie. Kissed the girls and made them cry. When the boys came out to play, Georgie Porgy ran away. Georgie Porgy refers to an English courtier, George Villiers, Duke of Buckingham. He was rumored to be King the James I's secret lover. There's no proof to this relationship. It was just very rumored. And King James was very fond of him and gave him a lot of money and a lot of titles. So it was rumored that they had a relationship.
At the very least, best buds.
Yes. BFFs. Villiers' good looks are very well documented. Like, it is in history. Mm-hmm. And his love for women was also well documented. Mm-hmm. He earned the wrath of several husbands whose wives he had been without consent.
Oh, okay.
And he kissed the girls. It says
that made them cry.
Mm-hmm. And when the boys came out to play,
mm-hmm.
Georgie Porgy ran away because he incurred the wrath of many a husband.
Okay.
That there are 10 very dark origins to some of the most popular nursery rhymes.
Very interesting. I wonder, it occurred to me when you asked me about Goosey Gander. Mm-hmm. It occurred to me that I wonder how many of these are still common nursery rhymes.
Well, Goosey, I didn't know as well.
Like,
and
I bet Georgie Porgy is probably,
I didn't know as well either.
Because I'm familiar with both of those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm familiar with all of these.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder how much even ones like Here We Go Around the Mulberry Bush.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we still, a bunch of these are still ones that you hear on like, what's that? It was on YouTube and then it went to Netflix. It's the like British.
You mean
animated,
like Baby Bus
or
Little Baby Bum or something?
Yeah, I wonder, I guess that show kind of keeps some of these alive.
Yeah.
And a lot of these are very British,
right,
in their origin.
I think all of them that I just spoke of were.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense because they're rhymes in English. So that would make sense.
Yeah.
No, there was the one about Louis XVI.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But for the most part, yeah, interesting. I guess I'm just curious, like how many of these are still nursery rhymes that little kids hear now. But I don't know the answer to that.
I guess it just depends on if they have a little nursery rhyme,
yeah,
music that they listen to. A lot of people still listen to the little tunes.
Sure.
Not really thinking about the words, but now you know.
Now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
Yeah.
I thought that was super interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For learning us some knowledge.
And those origins are suitable for adults.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, we did it. We did another episode of Not Suitable for Adults.
Well, what do you know?
What do you know? We did it. We do thank you for listening to the show. Hey, share the show with a friend or a loved one.
Yes, please.
And then whether you do that or not, make sure you have rated and reviewed the show on iTunes or on another place. A good place to do that would be podchaser.com. Leave us reviews, leave us stars, leave us whatever the five item rating thing is.
Whatever the 5 things are, leave those for us.
Give us all 5 if you don't mind. But even if you don't, like, hopefully you like us 5 whatever's worth. But leave a review too, because we love reading that feedback. Thank you to Shad Warrell for the creation of our theme music. You can find more from Shad at soundcloud.com/Shad-Warrell. And Warrell. Is there a thing I'm missing? I feel like I'm missing a thing from our
not that I can think of.
We're not promoting. Well, we don't have a promo anymore for Coco's Coffee. We did that last month, but hey, go over and buy some Coco's Coffee.
Yeah, we love them. They're very special people to us, and we want to help them with their small business in this time of declining small businesses.
Yeah, and maybe we'll set up another promo with them in another month or two. But it's cocoscoffeenh.com if you want to get some of their awesome small batch delicious coffee.
Mm-hmm. You know what else I want to say at this very end? We are coming up on a year. A year since the...
since this whole thing started.
Since this whole thing started. A year since the CDC
the
said...
thing about which we will not speak.
Yeah, a year since the CDC said this is something that's not so awesome for all of us. And we just want to say, hey, we're still here. You're still here. That means good things.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's
we're all just doing our best out here in this world that's different, but it's not so different anymore. Yeah. So just keep going.
Just keep on going, and don't forget you're the boss.
So watch whatever you want.
Okay, bye.
Bye.